Let us begin. Now, with a little bit of history and production, CASA is rooted from Vivero San Francisco, from Arturo and Carmen, the grandparents who started this line of nursery industry company. CASA offers various services such as the maintenance of gardens and the styling of gardens, but it also produces a wide variety of plants, specifically the African violet. Now, the African violet has a production process of roughly 6 to 9 months, with 3 stages of it becoming a baby plant, then transferred to trays, and then transferred to an individual pot, and then sold. Now, the mission and vision of CASA, the mission being creating ornamental arrangements that harmonize with nature and characteristics of the space, raising the quality of life of people who live there, as well as their vision of being a leader in designing ornamental arrangements under ethical and ecological purposing, the creation of authentic and original spaces in line with the taste of the people who inhabit it. Now, this gives us a clear idea of the familiar type of company and the goals that CASA has in mind. Now, Isaac, can you please explain the full environment?
In the full environment, we have the competitors, that is Anaya Nurseries from Morelos, Innova Plant from Xochitepec, Morelos, Chaji Orchids and Exotic Flowers from Yautepec, Morelos, and then we have the providers, that is Plantec, Floramundo, Mati Ceramics, and Conaflor. And we are considering an average price of the violet of 16 Mexican pesos.
Now, within this case study, we analyze particularly the African violet. And with these African violets, where is CASA now? We must keep in mind the classification found in the table to the right of the different types of costs. We classified them by variable and fixed and found their monthly cost. Now in this cash conversion cycle.
Okay, now for the cash conversion cycle, we took all the data from the balance sheet and the income statement. Well, here we can see that the cash conversion cycle average is of 45 days in this company. That is okay. But how we did calculate it? It was summing the inventory current period plus the average collection period minus the payables deferral. That it gave us that 45 days.
We must keep in mind that we found all of this information from the raw case from the balance and income sheets, utilizing our own information rather than the information provided by the teacher. Now, at the moment of analyzing cost volume utility model, we kept in mind that we sold the quantity of 1,981 violets at an average price of 16 pesos. We utilized this average price by combining the individual sales price of the African violet as well as the price sold in mass production. Now, we utilized the total sales of 31,730.50 pesos and a percent of the total fixed cost, a 90.2% to be exact, because this is the ratio pertaining to the violets, seeing as CASA does not only sell African violets. Now, we found a variable cost per violet of 4 pesos, utilizing the total variable cost in the trimester of 16,000. And with all this, we found a contribution margin of 23,779.50 pesos, a unit contribution margin of 12 pesos, and a ratio of 75.01. However, utilizing the information above and the work in the table below that proves these numbers that we are providing to you today, we found that the break-even sales in units is 2,347 violets. That is to say that currently the rate that we are selling at, we are selling underneath the break-even sales units, which when transferred into pesos would be 21,331.65 pesos. Now, this difference between the break-even sales point and the average quantity of violets sold that we are selling today, or CASA is selling today, proves to give the company a loss rather than an income. Now, when analyzing the marginal analysis, we decided to list all of the products sold by CASA in the last trimester and compare their overall impact, percent impact, to the net profit of 49,831.51. Now, when analyzing this percent impact, we found that there existed 18 products that were below the 25% or 25% impact. Now, when you combined their percent impact, you got a 2.16%, and the sum from those 25% and below products calculated to be a 770 pesos sum. Now, when calculating the money that is saved, when discarding these 18 products, we see a 1,377.49 peso amount, and this amount was utilized by our team to invest in the African violets and create a new net profit of 56,202.39%. Now, this is roughly a 12% increase from our normal net profit, and we will continue with the scenario and sensitivity analysis.
Okay, being pretty brief about this, we have like the real scenario, the expected scenario that is given us in the case, the optimistic scenario and the pessimistic scenario that we planted, that in this case is 10%. That is like the best it can go thanks to the contingency that we're living today, and the minus 10% that is the more convincing right now thanks to the things that are happening nowadays. And in the sensitivity analysis, we are like only focusing in the direct raw materials, in the direct costs, and in the direct workforce. And we can represent here how it will be affecting. And in each one, like in the first one, you can see it's an increase of salaries by 10%. The second one is a little more complex because it's changing the fixed cost of the water, and just changing for the solid rain or solid water, that it will be how we can say sustituto. And in the raw material, the increase of the baby plants.
Now here we must keep in mind that the 10 kilograms of solid rain, my partner and I investigated roughly how much this would cost the company, and the changes that we utilized for the sensitivity analysis are reflected to the right. We do declare this product as not so sensitive. However, seeing as the costs and the changes around the environment do impact the cost, then it is sensitive, but not as much as other products. Now, keeping in mind that all of this information utilized is to see how CASA can properly finance and invest in situations for them to reach their mission and their goals and vision. We investigated in various types of ways that we could invest, such as stocks, loans, bemas, bonds, etc. My partner and I came up with this chart to the right.
Well, in this chart, we can see the three paired options for CASA, but even though the company needs a loan, it doesn't has the requirements necessary to get it. So instead of doing that, we came with another option.
Yes, and our proposal to you guys and to CASA is to invest in CETES.
Why in CETES? Well, the CETES is a bond owned by the Mexican government, and as we know, a government cannot dissolve from one day to another. So it's pretty safe to invest in them, even though they don't have an interest rate pretty high. The money will be working itself, if we can say so.
This will prevent the working capital's devaluation, and also we must keep in mind that the working capital utilized within this exercise or within this analysis comes from the 49,000 of the net profit presented before. We decided to take away the costs that would be utilized in the next trimester, since we are seeing a short-term investment product strategies. Also, we decided to continue with the margin analysis and discontinue the products of impact of 25% or less, which would, as mentioned previously, create a 12.79 increase in the working capital. Now, thank you